Hey Midwest Conference fans, I'm Peyton Tabor here on Midwest Conference Media Day. Today I'm joined by head football coach at Cornell College, Dan Pfeiffer. Coach, thanks so much for taking the time to meet with me.
Thank you.
I really appreciate it. Coach, last year you guys finished 3-7 overall, but as we know, oftentimes the record doesn't always reflect all the high points and the low points that a season might bring. So I was wondering if you could touch on a little bit some of the highlights from last season.
We got better. That's the thing, and our guys know our record doesn't indicate what we were. We had 8 guys out for the year, these season-long injuries. Going into week 1. So that's a lot of starters. That when you're already a young team, it's going to set you back a little bit. And so it was a little bit of a rough year. The positive is now that we got a lot of guys that got playing time last year that probably wouldn't have gotten that much because of those injuries. So I wouldn't say we're a veteran team quite yet, but we're definitely an older team now. We're definitely juniors and sophomores now, rather than freshmen and sophomores. And so we're kind of excited for the steps we can take forward this year.
Absolutely. Speaking of those steps taking forward, what were some of your focuses in the off season to help take that next step?
Right, just leadership. As the guys getting older, they start to figure out their leadership role and things like that. Just the maturity, of the leadership in the program was a big thing. And then obviously getting bigger, faster, and stronger. We've been a young football team the last year. We played all freshmen and sophomores, for the most part the last 2 years. And so now, said we're older, we're juniors, sophomores. So we're kind of excited about that. Just the growth is really what we need. It's just time.
Coach, what players do you want to see take that next step, both on offense and on defense, to help your team be even more successful?
There's quite a few of them. Offensively, we got some veteran guys. Running back, Tony Gomez has been a 2-year starter, and then we got some really good young wideouts. A lot of them played last year as freshmen. We got Trey Birdsong back, who did really well as freshman year. Was out for the year last year. He was one of our key guys. And our whole secondary is back on defense. We got a ton of returners coming back on the D line. So defensive, we're a little bit older. For sure. They got a lot of guys that have been playing for 2 years. And so you're hoping that experience now translates into some wins.
Yeah. Coach, who's the guy that maybe we don't know by name or by stat that you see making a big difference this year?
I think it could be our quarterback. John Smith came in and did a really good job when we lost our first 2 quarterbacks in first 2 weeks of the season. He's a third-string guy and didn't know a lot about him. He didn't get a ton of reps, and so we kind of grew with him as the season went on. By the end of the year, he was doing a great job, and now we kind of know what his strengths and weaknesses are, and he's been working hard all summer. So it's kind of anxious to see how he's grown. From last year to this year, and has some playing time under his belt now.
Yeah, Coach. Last year on offense, you guys favored the run a little bit more than passing. Is that the type of identity that you want for your offense moving forward?
No, we'd like to be a little more 50-50 if we can, and then we'll lean one way or the other depending what our strengths could be. It's just we've been young the last couple of years. And so it's a little bit harder to throw the football. If we're going to try to throw it all the time, you got to have a really good line play. Obviously, a good quarterback. There's a lot more into it. And so with our inexperience, and being inexperienced on defense, we're just trying to shorten the game a little bit. Control the ball more, run it, keep the clock running, keep the defense out of bad thing, keep the game as close as possible for as long as possible. Yeah. So we'll definitely start to open it up more and more as we've gotten older now, and through the years we can get more balance.
Yeah. Coach, as you are building your program, there's obviously tons of factors that go into winning games, but one of which being third down defense. Mm-hmm. How was that a focus for you this offseason?
Yeah, every category is a focus for us. Defensively, I think for us, it's kind of the same answer, but we're hoping now that we're a veteran team. I said most of our defense now have been starters for 2 years, and usually the big jump is when they're juniors. They've seen a lot of football now. You're hoping those mistakes that we've been doing for years, they're going to get fixed, not just because of the veterans that are playing. They've been in these situations. We know how to handle them now. We won't have the penalties, the turnovers, and things in the key moments, because we're there now. We're not going to get nervous and be able to just go out there and play now. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping the whole just veteran and time is going to solve everything.
Yeah,
that's the plan.
That'll be great. I hope that happens. During your time at Cornell, you've expanded the recruiting of football significantly. How did that come about?
It just worked. Getting good coaches in. Got good coaches that know how to recruit, and then I've always said recruiting is, obviously it's communication and being a people person, but it's just effort. Putting the effort into it and communicating with people and that. And I think we've had really good guys been able to do that. And so if we can keep building on that, we're definitely night and day different from when we first got there. So the recruiting's been really good.
Coach, in the offseason, you promoted Coach Ryan Kotlenmark from receiver coach to offensive coordinator. Mm-hmm. How did he impress you to earn that spot?
Well, he's been there with us, almost since day one, really, after the first year he came in. And he's one of our best recruiters. So he knows a lot of these kids and that. And he's a good people where he communicates well, does all that. And he brings a lot of different ideas to the table, which I think is going to allow us to open up the offense a little bit more, not be so predictable in running the football and things like that. So I'm kind of excited to see where we go offensively and how we expand from where we've been.
Yeah. Coach, I have a feeling I know where your next answer to this question might be, but having turned around programs at Olivet and Shrine, what are critical factors that you as a coach look for when turning around programs, and where do you feel that Cornell's at right now?
Right. The biggest thing, I think, is one, just having school support. I mean, you got to have it from the top down, from the president to the AD, and that football is important. We have that there. It was a big thing. Me taking the job as the president and the AD, then, football was going to be important. We're going to put an investment into it. So that's the number one thing. If you got that support, typically it's going to be pretty hard to lose. It's just a matter of time then. And the one thing I do like about D3, but it is a process, is you're not going to be able to come in usually and flip the switch in 1 year in D3. You can't just jump into the portal, something like the D1 schools do, and go get in 15 new kids, and now you got your team. So it does take time. And usually year 4, it's kind of when you start to see something, and 5 is when you're kind of like, okay, we should be here. So we're kind of right in the middle of that stage going into year 3 with this. And so if we can kind of just keep going on the upward swing, here in a couple of years, hopefully we're competing for a conference title, at the end of it all. So yeah, it's just a long process, and that's kind of where we're at. We're sticking to it, and we're just going to keep recruiting and doing our stuff, and then see what happens.
Yeah. The last thing that I have for you today, Coach, it's actually a question from Frank Rossi, co-host of D3 Football in the Huddle. So he asks, while weapons John Smith and Tony Gomez return on offense for you, your offensive line is notably very young coming into the season. How do you ensure your offense can hit the ground running despite this youth up front? And what role do your returning wide receivers play in that quick education?
Yeah, that's definitely the one kind of question we have is the O-line. We were senior dominated there in that one position, and so. But I think we lose some veterans there, but I think we do gain a little athleticism. I think we won't be as big, but I think we'll be more athletic. So we got to be able to adjust to that, and what can we do? And so that's kind of we have our base stuff that we're going to go into camp with, and then after that we got to be able to adjust and say, okay, we know they're good at this, and this, and we got to be able to adjust that and do it. But it's still going to come down to getting the ball out quick, getting it to our wides. We do think we have a good wide receiver group. And if you're getting out quick, hopefully you don't have to block that long. So we can just kind of get it to them and then let them do their thing. So that's kind of what we're hoping happens. Now, if it does or not, we'll see. Then we'll have to adjust if it doesn't. But I think it's a good group of guys. Though they work hard, but I think we'll be more athletic. So I think that'll help us.
That's great to hear. Well, that's all I have for you today, Coach. So I just really appreciate you taking the time to meet with me.
Perfect. No problem. Thank you.
Good luck this season. I wish you guys all the best.
Thank you. Appreciate it.